All right, good morning, members. It is 9:15 on September 22nd, a Tuesday, and we are seeing the markets down fairly largely here this morning. We're trading at 193.72. Peeking back at the daily chart for SPY here, I see that we have a gap that needs to be filled at 192.86. That is the gap from September 4th to September 5th. So if you look at the daily chart, I'll just pull it up for you guys to make life easy. Here it is right here. The gap I am seeing is between these 2 days. We had a high of day here of 192.86 and the next day a low of 194.16. So all this range was skipped. We saw a little bit of pullback, but the lowest it came down was 193.25. So this gap fills once we hit 192.86, and then we have no more gaps on this bounce from the market crash. So we will see if that's going to be the market maker's target to hit here this morning. And we are certainly seeing almost a $3 drop here. We're going to be watching multiple time frames, more so than just the 5-minute this time, because we have the hourly and 30-minute chart now has resistance for SPY, but I just looked at Facebook, and Facebook still had 30-minute and hourly support with some major time frames there. So definitely worth noting. Also, let me know if my volume is too high here. I was adjusting it working on a video and not sure how it sounds to all you guys, so please provide feedback. Another thing I want to point out here on the 5-minute chart for SPY is some resistance lines that I drew, some support and resistance from days ago, and look exactly where we bounced off of this morning. This is just a prime example of how previous price history can be used. This was from weeks ago, at least a week, where I drew this channel that SPY was trading in, and this was the support line. And that's exactly where we bounced off of this morning. So that is very interesting to note. Let's look at some of the stocks we're looking at. I want to point out first GoPro. Very key support we are watching is 31.32. If we open below that level, it's going to signal more downside, and $30 psychological support for GoPro will probably be tested. Another level I want to point out is Twitter. $27 is extremely key support. We are seeing it open right around there right now. If we see a break first thing in the morning, it might be time to short Twitter. Could also be a good entry if 27 does hold for a move back up to $28. So we're going to be watching GoPro and Twitter at these key supports early very closely. Let's look at VTL here, pre-market. No pre-market action, closed at 388 on the daily chart. We had that very interesting upper Bollinger Band and lower Bollinger Band, almost vertical. Very interesting chart to look at. And a shape that I haven't really seen before. So we have the upper Bollinger Band resistance at 394, middle Bollinger Band support at 346. I'm very curious to see what these Bollinger Bands look like with the open today. So we'll have to check back in on VTL. GBSN. 0.084 here pre-market. Looking like we might have a gap up. One thing with penny stocks is you do not want to get caught in a gap and trap. It happens a lot. We had a high yesterday of 8 cents. I actually have to zoom in with penny stocks on these 3-month daily charts. Sometimes it just rounds numbers, but you want to get more specific if you can onto what the actual support and resistance levels are. So we saw a high yesterday of 0.078. We are going to gap up here. Want to be very cautious that we don't get stuck in a gap and trap, and you're going to be watching volume as well. Let's see BABA here, pre-market 62.85. Need to look at the daily chart, and I don't think it's going to be a good looking daily chart. 62.85, the low yesterday was 62.96, so a little bit of a gap down. Support is all the way down at 61.11. That was the low of September 15th, and the higher low, the third higher low that formed off of the market crash bounce. So those are very key levels to watch. 61.11 must hold for BABA. 10-day moving average resistance 64.37. So Netflix on the 5-minute here, 97.72 down below all moving averages on the 5-minute chart, including $100 psychological support. No moving average support on the longer term time frames, so need to look at the daily chart for Netflix. Need to adjust my settings here to zoom back out after I zoomed in for the penny stock. So Netflix below 100, we have support. The third higher low from the market crash was 93.61, so a ways to go until we hit that level. Currently trading at 98. We are going to open below the 100-day moving average resistance of 103 cents and the 10-day moving average resistance of 99.72. So the key to watch here on the 5-minute charts for all of these stocks is the 20-period moving average resistance. That'll be step one, and then the 100 period will be the resistance to watch after that. Apple is also down big, but starting to form some higher lows. We'll see if it's able to set some higher highs after that. Not a long way to go until it gets over its 100 and 200 period moving averages on the 5-minute chart. Looking at the 60-minute chart, we'll see if we do still have support here. The 200 period strong support of 113.35. It held that level as it was testing pre-market. So 113.35 is key support for Apple. And that's where we bounced off of right here. We had a low of 113.26 and bounced. So keep your eye on that hourly 200 period moving average support. AZO, not really anything going on pre-market. Let's look at the daily chart. Long upper wick the past previous 2 days, pulling back from 735 resistance. Trading at 725 right now. We have the middle Bollinger Band support of 720.57 and the 10-day moving average of 727.24. So we'll see if it's able to get back above the 10-day moving average resistance, and 720.57 should be some nice support on the middle Bollinger Band. VBLT, all about the 20-period moving average resistance or support, currently trading at 919. Looking at the daily chart. So it's going to have its second gap up in a row here. High of day yesterday was 840. I would not touch this stock at all at this point. It is very overbought. RSI is 80. Well extended above the upper Bollinger Band on the daily and weekly time frame, and certainly getting in on the third day after it has gone from $5.30 up to $9.30 in 3 days is certainly risk to reward not in your favor. Lulu needs to close above 55. It cannot do it. It has been rejected many times in the past 2 weeks. And currently we are trading at 53.42. The low yesterday was 53.47. If we break below that, we have a low to hold of 52.64. That is a must hold for Lulu, 52.64. Otherwise, we're going to see more downside. No moving average support in the longer term time frames. VBLT is potentially a short op, yes. Watch it in the first 15 minutes, see how overextended it does get. FCX currently trading under $10. Looking like we dropped down. I believe I was looking at this one yesterday to test the middle Bollinger Band, and we are now well below that. Middle Bollinger Band resistance is 1036. Need to hold the low of 951. Otherwise, it's going to set a lower low and will be a bearish pattern. So this is actually going to be the third gap down in a row for FCX, and that is a bullish reversal pattern. 3 gap down, bullish reversal pattern. So we'll be watching for potentially some upside on FCX, but it's going to be all about the middle Bollinger Band, 1036 resistance currently. We got 6 minutes until the bell here. UVXY has a bunch of hourly support. All about the 20 period. We are currently trading at 50.57. The high pre-market was 51.86. Looking at the daily chart. 10-day moving average resistance is 55.05, and that's going to drop down. The high yesterday was 51.14, so look for a high or a break of 51.14, and then watch the 10-day moving average, get the update of what that is with the open here today. TTPH, we're expecting further consolidation. After 10.50, we're going to be looking at $10 even as support, and we're going to watch volume compared to yesterday. Want to see a decrease in volume on more consolidation. Twitter, it's all about 27. If we break 26.99, there will be more downside. If we hold 27, it'll be a nice entry for a bull swing. So TTPH does not have much support here. I'm looking at the hourly chart. 100 period moving average support for the hourly chart is 10.11. So we're watching 10.11 on top of 10 psychological. Tesla is holding up a lot better than I expected here this morning. Currently at 259.60. We know that there is strong support on the weekly and monthly time frame, or excuse me, daily and weekly time frame of 253, 254. So currently trading down about $5 from the close. Let's see what kind of support we have here. 100 period support on the hourly chart is 258.56. We hit that on this candlestick and bounced up. So 258.56 is key support. Also, we got 257.71 below that on the 30-minute chart. So lots of support for Tesla on the daily, pretty much all time frames. Still liking Tesla even after that crazy day yesterday. So let's check back in with SPY. We have 3 minutes until the open here. Seeing a little bit of recovery off the bounce. Nice big green doji on increased volume. Currently trying to get over 20 period moving average resistance. That level is 193.94. And we'll see how it reacts to this channel. Again, I drew this channel days ago. Support bounced exactly off of that. And we'll see if resistance, which is what happened back here. It's really incredible that this was drawn weeks ago. And the price is playing right around this channel. So I'm going to leave these lines up and see how the price reacts to this channel for the open. And again, we're watching GoPro 31.32 must hold. Twitter $27 even must hold. Obviously, we're going to be watching hemp. For new members, if you are unaware of hemp, we had a special coverage yesterday over a potential high-risk, high-reward penny stock opportunity with legislation changing in the state of North Carolina where they have a processing facility. We're expecting some upside movement if this legislation is passed. If you would like to see the 30-minute video we recorded of me describing the entire situation, please message Jason Siku and he will throw you the link for that video. Going to be watching 2 million volume yesterday, which was an increase over the day before. 10-day moving average was 5 cents, 0.0567. I am expecting that to be tested. It's obviously going to drop down with the open today, and we might see, if we do see a close over the 10-day moving average, I'm going to start scaling into my position very smallly, maybe 20% of everything I hope to own if the legislation does pass. So I will let you guys know if that is the case and what I plan on doing. But I will definitely play the chart along with playing the news that we are expecting to come. So we see a nice increase in volume here on SPY getting or attempting to get above the 20 period moving average resistance 193.95. The top of the channel I drew is 194.36. We got 1 minute until the bell here. And we'll see if the bulls can muster some strength or if the market makers are going to bring it down to 192.86. Here's the open down 1.3%. Watching Twitter up $27. If this 27 holds, it might be a nice bullish entry. Twitter GoPro down one, and so here goes GoPro losing its 31.32 must hold support. There's more red coming here for Twitter. Hemp, pretty widespread, nice bid on 5.3 cents all the way up to 5.99 here. TTPH is not really feeling the hurt right now. 1067 low. We got 1059 support from a previous low of the day on a different candlestick. So let's zoom in a little bit on SPY for today so we can see how it's going to react to this channel. Currently getting rejected by the 20-period moving average support, and support from here is down at 193.37. Twitter dropped 2 cents below 27, but that is holding it enough because we had a low recently of 26.99. Watching to see if we can maintain this level as GoPro continues to drop now that that 31.32 support was lost. Watching TTPH off of 1059 support. So hemp has a 10% spread right now. Definitely want to see that spread tighten. If you are trying to get shares, you're doing it on the bid, of course. But it's still a little bit early compared to what we are waiting for in the legislation aspect of things. So we're waiting here for SPY to find its direction. We have resistance at 194.36. TTPH holding that 1059 support for the time being. And Twitter is doing a good job of holding that $27. Here comes another test. If we were to see a break of 26.98, it might be an opportunity to short Twitter, but it is definitely holding around this level fairly nicely. So Sunni daily chart is not going to be looking as good now. We are below the middle Bollinger Band resistance. That level is $11 even. As long as we stay above 1050, we can still maintain a higher low. Coming up to test $11 right now, it appears. So SPY's looking good to come up and test this resistance level. Twitter's still hanging on right around 27, keeps testing it. Let's see what VBLT did this morning with the open. So up to 1025, we're going to have a short opportunity on VBLT. Waiting for the first 10 or so minutes to go by here. Not seeing really any resistance on the weekly time frame to see for a target. We're just going to wait until we get overbought. RSI on the daily chart is 86. RSI on the 5-minute chart is now 72. TTPH, nice bounce here. We got the 20-period moving average resistance on the 5-minute of 1083. Keep setting a new high. We are now even on the day, looking to go green. We'll see how it reacts to $11. Twitter is still holding that 27 mark. GoPro keeps setting new lows. That stock is certainly in trouble. SPY is setting new lows for the day as well. Losing 20 period moving average support, so we're coming down to test the low of pre-market back here at 193.37. TTPH coming up on $11. Let me look at the daily chart there. One of the few green plays today with such a bearish open. Broken $11 now. 10-day moving average support is 1017 for TTPH. Need to see where we're finding resistance because I don't see any on the daily chart. We got 1136 resistance on the 5-minute chart. TTPH seeing a nice bounce here. We got the 30-minute chart resistance is 1114. That's the 20 period. 20 period for the hourly chart is 1156. $5 million was total volume yesterday. We'll be watching for comparative volume. I've got my eye on hemp. We're watching for an increase in 2 million volume. Wide bid and ask spread right now. TTPH doing very well. Twitter still holding that 27 mark. Look for a 27.08 break for the high of the day. As GoPro continues down, 31.32 breaking was the short signal for GoPro. Nice green candlestick for SPY here, trying to maintain the 20 period moving average support. 193.90. Sunni now testing $11 resistance. Twitter broke 27.08 and made a quick 8 cents, a quick 10 cents now. 27 looked like strong support for the 5th day in a row and looked like a nice bullish entry for Twitter. Watching the bids creep up on hemp. TTPH 1122 high of day. Nice big bounce from 1060 low. 194.36 is the resistance level to watch for SPY. VBLT is pulling back. Not really liking this one for a short. I am not liking bullish entry on FCX until it gets above its 20 period moving average resistance. That level is lining up with $10 psychological resistance right now, and you can see pre-market it has knocked the price down 3 times. I would not suggest bullish entry until that is support. TTPH continuing up. Very sweet bounce there. Twitter hit resistance of 27.26, the 100 period on the 5-minute chart, and pulled back. 20 period support is 27.03. So SPY hit a high about 8 cents below the resistance line drawn here. We'll see how it reacts to that. Still watching hemp as the bids creep up. Not significant moves up, but slowly creeping up. bids are still creeping up here on hemp, but they're creeping up by 0.0002, so not significant at all, but definitely watching. It looks like we might be seeing a little bit of loading leading into that legislation coming up. You see these bids jumping each other? Someone wants 80,000 shares and is trying to get the highest bid, and then someone else gets in there. I will do my best, Jim. I'm asking everybody to watch the Twitter feed for those Twitters that I gave you yesterday, just so we're all on top of it. Watch this bid here as it creeps up. I'm getting tempted to get started with 20% of my intended hemp position, but still don't like it with this wide bid and ask. Twitter's still maintaining that 27, as we see SPY here going to try this resistance line of 194.36. Someone with 80,000 on a bid wants shares and they want to be the highest bid, and someone is walking it up. You don't want to give too much attention to this, as I have played penny stocks in the past and had shares that I wanted to sell and saw this action happening, and I walked the bid up with someone. It was like an auction where I would step up and then he would go on top of me, and I would keep that up until he reached a level where I wanted to sell, and then I sold him my shares and withdrew my bid. So there's definitely games that can be played in penny stocks. Mr. 80,000 shares just removed his bid. So there's lots of bid and ask jumping around. Penny stocks is a whole different animal than big board stocks. Much more control with how you can manipulate a stock. Only thing I can think of, Brad, is maybe they don't support penny stocks. I don't know who your specific broker is. Sometimes you have to get approval. I remember with Fidelity I had to call them, listen to their disclaimer, and confirm that I know how risky penny stocks are. Nice trade, Zach. I would suggest giving him a call, Brad. So Twitter's still maintaining 27. We're going to be watching the 100 period moving average resistance on the 5-minute chart, which is where it pulled back from before. We're going to be watching this channel for SPY. Currently about to hit resistance. Sunni was rejected from the middle Bollinger Band resistance of $11. Need to see a close above middle Bollinger Band. Came 2 cents shy of that resistance just now. The pre-market activity for VBLT holding the price up like this without having there be a drastic spike up leading to the inevitable pullback has me not wanting to short it. TTPH resistance is 1134 on the 5-minute chart. And Twitter has me intrigued right here for bullish entry with $27 holding as support. Coming up to test the high of the day. Resistance is 27.25. Risk to reward, setting a stop loss below 26.98 in the low 27s with your entry would be a nice risk to reward in your favor. Increase in bullish volume right now on the 5-minute. Gonna see a new high of day here. Twitter's looking good. Still rejected by that 100 period resistance, but the bull volume is there, the support held for Twitter, and now looking for a test of $28 resistance. So I'm looking at the hemp daily chart here. We are currently above 10-day moving average resistance, which is 0.0562. Well, currently below it, but for the day, 0.0562 is the level to close above, and we've got the middle Bollinger Band at 0.0655. Ooh, that's good to hear, Any. Which direction did you play it in, out of curiosity? So SPY high of day is right off the resistance line exactly to the penny that I drew a week or two ago. And support was low 193.37. Trying to see what this number is right here, but it's being blocked. But that was within a couple pennies too, so that is too cool. Twitter's still looking good. Looking for $28 target on Twitter after 27 support held. Someone with 80,000 share bid definitely wants hemp shares. Once we start seeing 100, 200,000 or share bids moving up on hemp, we will know something is up. Nice bounce here for GoPro, seeing almost $1. Still a whole lot of resistances to work with. Staying away from GoPro until we see more convincing bullish reversal signs. Still a falling knife at this point. So less than a minute to go in this candlestick. 27.25 is the level to close above here for Twitter to turn the 100 period into support. And it's not going to do it here, this candlestick, so that is still resistance. Might get another chance for entry in the low 27s. SPY is pulling back. After that resistance test failed, now I expect it to come down. Currently testing 20 period moving average support 193.87. After that 193.40. So we were within 3 cents on support and exact on the money on resistance from a trend line drawn weeks ago. I can't get over how cool that is. I'm going to keep bringing it up. Yep, people that bash technical analysis are people that haven't devoted the time to learning. I read a whole article that Jason shared with me about someone explaining why technical analysis is a scam. Whole article pretty well thought out and written, and at the very end he disclosed that he has never used technical analysis for trading. And I just laughed and X'd out of the article. So Hemp Mr. 80,000 shares keeps moving up bit by bit. He wants to be the top bid and he wants those shares. Question is, after he gets filled, if he does, when is the next bid support? I'm considering paying for level 2 for over-the-counter pink sheets, which is a separate level 2 that you need to buy to look at penny stocks. I believe it's $30-something a month, but if we're going to be seriously playing hemp here, it would be good to know what level 2 looks like. So Twitter might be a nice spot for entry here. $27.05 is 20 period moving average support. But with this rejection from the 100 period moving average, I'm not so sure if I would want entry before that is turned into support. So if you do, make sure you have a tight stop loss just below 26.98, which is the low of the day. So bids are continuing to move up here on hemp. Let's see if Mr. 80,000 bid hops over this 5.6. I'm almost tempted to play around with him on the bid just to see how badly he wants these shares. The 5.8 ask just disappeared. So there's lots of moving around. There's 5.9. So someone just bought 100,000 shares at 5.9. And that's the other thing about penny stocks, is we have a 10,000 ask that was just hit for 100,000 shares and it didn't move. Lots of times on level 2 you can see who the market maker is that has these shares. If it is VFIN or VDMN, ones like those, they give clues that they can perhaps have way more shares than they are showing on the ask. If you think manipulation is bad in regular stocks, penny stocks is 10 times worse. Not showing the true amount of shares on bids and asks is a common occurrence in penny land. So a nice little lower wick here on Twitter, low of 27.07, back up to 27.16. So looking like we're going to bounce around between 20 period moving average support and 100 period moving average resistance until one breaks. Also noticing on hemp that no shares are hitting the bid, so people, if they want shares, they're having to hit the ask here. I'm getting an itchy trigger finger to start entering some position, but that would be very high risk in terms of what we're waiting for in the legislation front. So we have the ask moving up here. I'm going to put a fishing bid in just to see if we have people walking up. So that's now my bid. I put my bid at 0.0561, and the absolute second I did that, a bid showed up 0.0001 above it. That was automatic. That's not somebody putting their bid in front of me. That's in a logarithm or something else. It's absolutely scary, Zen. I'm only comfortable with this because I did it for years. It is as risky as you can get with trading stocks. I'm just going to play around here and see if this is automatic again. I'm going to one up to 564. So there's my top bid. It's not showing the real amount of shares that I want. Just playing around, putting some feelers out to see how we're trading, what the bid and ask is like, how many people want shares. Twitter, big bid at 2707. Watch how this holds. That's some nice support right there. If it gets erased, that will be a bearish sign. So entry here for Twitter with a stop loss at 26.96. Risk to reward is pretty nice here. So again, if you're new here, new to the group, and you don't know what we're talking about with hemp, ask Jason in private message for the video, and there's a 30-minute video explaining everything we like about this play and what's upcoming in the legislation that could lead to some nice gains with hemp. Normally this room we don't play many penny stocks, but when the opportunity is there, we'll make money any way we can. So that was a nice bounce from 2707, big bid support for Twitter. 2725 is the key to break. So I'm the top bid at 5.0564 on hemp, and we just had a small amount of shares, maybe a few hundred, hit the bid, and they didn't fill my order. So that is some manipulation. So SPY is definitely in this trading channel. We're going to see where it breaks. Nice hold of 20-period moving average support, forming a hammer off of that. And seeing another move up to test the high of the day and the resistance of 194.36. Really liking the lack of bid whacking. That's selling into the bid on hemp here. So that means if we do see the news come out and we do see a run, people are going to have to slap the ask for shares, and that's going to cause the stock price to move a lot more significantly. SUNY just broke $11. Middle Bollinger Band resistance is now support. We'll see if it can hold that $11. Support on a back test is the 20-period moving average of 1092, and we had a double bottom, it looks like, here at 1082, where we're seeing this bounce happen from. 11's back to resistance though, so not a strong showing by turning that into support. SPY we're watching come back up to the high of the day. That could be why we saw that SUNY spike there, trading hand in hand with SPY as usual, more than any other stock that we follow. So a really nice bounce on GoPro here, $1.20, high of day, but still not convincing on the daily chart. So there was another 1,000 share bid whack of 564, and I didn't get any of those. Oh, I did get some of those shares. Okay, so they're starting to partially fill me. Only 1,700 out of 50,000. I'm just fishing here though, seeing what is going on. I'm comfortable enough with where we're trading on the chart with 5-cent support to start getting a little bit of a position. Not going in heavy until we see the legislation though. Nice coverage of GBSN from yesterday to the At the Moment group, who puts out a nice watch list every night for us. Having multiple members putting out watch lists every night is certainly beneficial. Getting a little bit overextended here, but very sweet gains from the morning. So Mr. 80,000 just jumped me in hemp. Seeing a bearish reversal doji on GBSN here forming. 3 minutes left to go in the candlestick. Here comes a test of the high of the day for SPY, and Twitter is also testing that 100 period moving average resistance. VTL resistance is 383. Not a whole lot of price action here. Let's see what the daily chart looks like with those weird Bollinger Bands. And just like that, they flatten out. So upper Bollinger Band resistance is 396. Support is 346. Currently trading above the 20 period. Watch volume here on VTL. That's going to be the key. So Twitter, new high of day, very nice play off of $27 support. Looking great, increase in volume, breaking above resistance, higher high. Resistance is now 27.55. Sunni looking good as well as SPY broke out of the channel. Resistance for SPY is 194.96. We'll see if it can close above this channel. That is why Sunni is seeing that break of 11 as SPY is looking bullish here. Twitter looking great. Let me know if anybody got in Twitter and I will continue to cover it. Morning strategy on hemp. I'm just putting feelers out. If I get filled on all of my bid, it will be about 20% of what I am looking to get if we pass on legislation. So I am perfectly fine risking that amount of money here. This bid I am only putting in because I'm liking the chart, completely disregarding any of the legislation or due diligence. The chart has me comfortable enough to start entering a small position in hemp, because when things, as we're seeing here, no one is filling the bids. When things take off, once it does get some hype, it's going to be all ask slapping and the price is going to run away pretty quick. Awesome job, Jim. Perfect entry. Nice job, Trumbo, as well. My bid is 50,000. Oh, good. We got a ton of Twitter players. Good to hear. My bid for hemp was for 50,000. I got filled for 1,700 of that. We see Mr. 80,000 is continuing to walk up the bid. Don't know why he just jumped over himself unless there's multiple 80,000 bidders. So Twitter now, we're watching a back test of the 100 period moving average support. That level is 27.25. We want to see that hold and continue on up. So it's very interesting, this Mr. 80,000. Not sure what he's doing. Dropping his bid up and down by 0.0001 or 2. There's a nice 100,000 bid stepping up above him, so they might have a little bidding war and drive this one up. %10 of yesterday's total volume. Twitter want to see a break here and a new high of day. That'd be a great sign, back testing this support. Nice long lower wick showing that the bulls bought that up. And here comes the new high of day for Twitter, and we're green. So we got more bid and ask moving up here. These bids catching up to the ask is bullish. I'm almost tempted to slap a little bit of the ask to get some position here. But again, I am early and only doing a small amount compared to what I want if we get the legislation. Twitter looking fantastic. That's a penny stock term. I just want to point out that what I am doing is against what I advised all members to do with hemp. We have no green light for what we're waiting on now. Entry now is the most risky time for entry as to what we're doing. So make sure you stick to your plan. You don't want to just jump in here because I'm putting out some feelers. I am by no means suggesting following me. I'm going to know when to sell if this falls apart. Twitter looking fantastic. Nice higher high off that back test. SPY is still underneath that resistance line that I drew. Could not convincingly get above it, so we were back in that channel. Facebook lower highs, higher lows. A break of 93.83 will be bearish. A break of 94.34 will be bullish. And 20 period moving average support is 94.03. So we just saw a 5.9 bid of 50,000 shares get filled on hemp. Watching Twitter now on this back test of 27.24, low of the previous candlestick 27.27. Good entry on Twitter would be if we see this 100 period moving average hold as strong support, somewhere around there, but obviously closer to 27 was better entry. Nice job, Zach. Wow, very bullish move here. RSI is 82. I do not suggest entering GBSN at this point. So Twitter's got some pretty strong resistance on the hourly chart, 27.37, 27.48, and 27.54. So definitely some battles to be done in the mid 27s. 30-minute chart has those resistance levels as well. Need 27.28 to hold for the Twitter chart to look ideal. Good job having a stop loss, Brad, to save you from that bad entry on Twitter. Here we go, testing the low of this current candlestick. Low of the previous candlestick is 27.27, and then the key 100 period moving average support of 27.24. So we just lost the 100 period support. We'll see if we close below it. Volume is decreasing, so that is not a terrible sign. We'll see where this candlestick closes and what volume looks like comparatively. GoPro, nice bounce. We'll see. Need to pull up the daily chart on GoPro to see if we had a 3 gap down. So Twitter's pulling back pretty hard here. The 20 period 27.11 is the must hold. If you did enter in the lower 27s, you have your stop loss below at a low of the day, giving yourself some protection from this pullback. So 100,000 shares just hit the bid of hemp. This candlestick will look really good for Twitter if we can close above 27.25 in the next 2.5 minutes. Congratulations to the GBSN traders out there. Nice penny stock with momentum on a very oversold bounce. The SPY chart is still trading in that channel, unable to break above it convincingly. Nice hammer on this 5-minute chart for Twitter. Let's see if it closes there. Not a whole lot of movement here besides the pre-market action with the market drop. Looks like the market's trying to figure out which direction it wants to go, and we have that gap target at 192.59, I believe it was. Might have been 192.86. Let's double check and write it down. This is why you write stuff down. 192.86 is the gap on SPY. We'll be watching if we do see some more downside and a break of the low of the day. Thank you, Larios. SPY is now below the 20-period moving average support. So we're going to see SPY potentially test the low of the day. We have a low here of 193.61. Twitter now has that 100-period moving average as resistance, and it's going to be all about holding this 20-period moving average and maintaining this higher low pattern and keeping the higher highs going. P is pulling back from that rumor. 20-period moving average support of 2016. RSI is 29. $20 psychological support will probably be fairly strong. Amazon currently at 538. Let me check out the daily chart. Support on the daily chart is the 10-day moving average 530.47. So we could see a little bit more downside. Let me look at other time frames for support. 532.89 is hourly support. 531.96 on the 30-minute. 200 period 15-minute support is 537.89. Looking like that's the level that's currently holding. The 20 period moving average resistance has driven down the price, so keep your eye on the 15-minute chart. 541.18 is resistance. The daily chart though has me thinking we're going to see some consolidation, perhaps down to 530 between today and tomorrow. PCLN on the daily chart has 1280 support, and today we have support of 1288. That level is held a few times. So PCLN, if 1288 breaks, I would expect 1280 to be tested. Twitter looking like it's holding that 20 period moving average support. Resistance to get back over is the 100 period at 27.25. Looking for SPY to see some support here, currently forming potential bullish hammer. Need to maintain the higher low compared to the low of the day in the first 10 minutes. Hemp is seeing a little bit of poking at the ask here. Nothing significant in volume. Let's check out GoPro daily chart. If we were to close above 31.32, it would be fairly bullish that it held that low on both tests of it back on September 13th and today. 10-day moving average resistance is 33.79. SPY set a new low of day, and Sunni is going down with it, currently down 22 cents from its high. The pre-market low for SPY, which is now support, is 193.37. GoPro with a new high of day. Might see a move to the 10-day moving average resistance here for GoPro, 33.79. Resistance is 32.46. Nice back test of 100 period moving average support on the 5-minute. That support is 31.79. That held on multiple candlesticks and set a higher high. Twitter is going to be squeezed here between 27.13 support and 27.24 resistance. And GoPro is now green on the day. So looking fairly bullish considering where it opened and how the previous days have looked for GoPro. Watching that resistance of 32.46, the 200 period on the 5-minute, as we have SPY is going to come down and test the pre-market low, and we have our eyes on 192.86 for the gap fill. Expecting a bounce off this 193.37 low, just as we've seen 5 red candlesticks in a row. So I'm going to sign off here in the near future. If you want any other tickers you want me to look at before I go, I will stay in the chat as always. GoPro getting interesting. Testing 200 period moving average resistance currently. Good old Fannie Mae. Currently trading at 231. Fannie Mae support is 228, that's the 10-day moving average, and the middle Bollinger Band resistance is 234, the 50-day moving average, which has knocked the price down the past 4 days. A close over 234 would be bullish, but until then it's going to be some strong resistance. P is bouncing, looking to maintain this 200 period moving average support of 2016. We had a low of 20.05, 20.05, and 20.05, so that is a triple bottom support on the 5-minute chart. SPY seeing a bullish reversal hammer here. GoPro trading up near its high of day, battling that 200 period moving average resistance on the 5-minute chart. Long way to go in the day, but GoPro is currently forming a bullish reversal candlestick on the daily chart. Twitter 27.15 support, 27.24 resistance. GMCR resistance of 56.44. Looking at the daily. Daily support is 55.27 and resistance is 57.03. Labu. 20-period moving average resistance has knocked down the price all day on the 5-minute chart. That is 28.74 and a key level to turn into support. Looking at the daily chart here. Big drop off yesterday on huge volume. Seeing a little bit of follow through there, but holding the 27.50 support. And that is still a higher low than the low seen 26.58. So watch for the 20-period moving average support resistance to be turned into support, 28.74. Twitter's struggling a bit now. We'll see if it's able to maintain this 20-period moving average support by the close of the candlestick. And a break of 26.98 will obviously be bearish. SPY tested the low of the pre-market, got within 5 cents of that so far. 193.37 is that support. And we've also got this trend line that I drew a while ago where the pre-market bounced off of and is now being tested by SPY. If we see a break, our target is the gap fill at 192.86 for SPY. Twitter seeing some of the hurt that SPY is as well, pulling back on increased volume. All about 27. There's 27.07 big bid that we saw earlier. Watch to see how we react to that, if it gets eaten up or not. PCLN below 1288 support, so we are headed to 1280. Twitter just lost that big bid, so looking like we could potentially see a new low of day, unfortunately. Did see a nice bounce this morning, but currently seeing a lot of selling pressure. All about 27 and 26.98. Seeing some bids walk up on hemp. Here's Twitter testing $27 support. If we see a break of 26.98, it is bearish. Here's the test. And it might be a nice short Twitter if we see a break here. Unfortunately, the bullish play didn't pan out, as SPY is falling apart and taking Twitter with it. SPY is now below the pre-market low of day, and we are looking at 192.86 to be tested. Well, we saw a new low of day by 1 penny. We'll see if that's going to drop. That's why we give ourselves a couple pennies wiggle room with our stop losses below key supports. But if 27 turns into resistance, it's definitely going to be bearish for Twitter. As SPY is continuing to drop. And Sunni is going down with SPY. So definitely bearish break of SPY in the markets here. PCLN seeing some of that bearish follow through. And Twitter is struggling with everything it can to maintain this level. TTPH, we've got $11 psychological support. 20 period support is 1102. 100 period resistance is 1122. You can see these resistance and support pinching, and that is what we're going to watch here as the price and range tightens. Sunni support is 1050. And Twitter desperately needs to get back over $27. So I'm going to unplug here. I'll leave this up on the webcam as usual. We're watching Twitter to hold desperately this level. If not, it will be bearish. Hopefully everybody had stop losses in. Unfortunately, Twitter was looking great, and that changed very quickly as the markets lost their support and are seeing further downside as well. Also watching hemp, which currently has over 20% of yesterday's total volume, but that's in an hour of trading, so it's nothing significant. Just watching this battle here on Twitter as we see SPY continue to set new lows. Appreciate everybody tuning in this morning. I will be back this afternoon, and I will continue coverage in the chat room. Hope you have a good rest of your morning.